Hey guys, this is Stacy from eatthebite.com, and today I'm making cashew chicken for beginners, and it couldn't be any easier with the 6 main ingredients you see here. All you have to do is cut the chicken and season with salt and pepper, finely dice some garlic, chop asparagus, onion, and then we've got an optional add-on of scallions and red pepper. We'll stir fry our veggies and cashews in one pan, cook the chicken in the other. Combine the two pans, add some oyster sauce, give it a stir, and you're ready to go. So let me show you how to make it. I'm using boneless chicken thighs for this, so I'm going to take a few minutes to trim that fat. I do also have a great tutorial on how to trim the fat from chicken thighs, and I'll leave a link to that below. Also, you don't have to use chicken thighs, so you could skip this step altogether if you go with chicken tenderloins, which is a great alternative. So now that we've trimmed the fat from the chicken thighs, we just need to cut it into bite-sized pieces. You can use a knife and cut each thigh into 2 or 3 pieces depending on the size of your thighs. Then just cut them down into smaller pieces from there. Alternatively, if you've got a good sharp pair of kitchen shears, you can use the scissors to cut the pieces as well. Once all the chicken is cut, you can spread them out on a plate or a small sheet pan, and then we're going to season it with some salt and some pepper. After the chicken is seasoned, we'll set that aside to do a little more prep. We need to finely dice some garlic, and I usually start by slicing the garlic into thin rounds and then dicing it down into smaller bits from there. Just make sure you've got a few ramekins or small bowls around to hold your prepped ingredients. With the asparagus, I usually cut off the discolored ends, and now I'm going to use that whole bunch of asparagus and chop it up into about 1-inch pieces like you see here. I had some onion pieces in the fridge, so I'm using what I have, and all we're doing here is dicing the onion into cubes. And I do like to separate the onion layers before I transfer those into a bowl. For the scallions, first you'll just cut off the fuzzy ends, and then we're just chopping a whole bunch of scallions, and these are optional, but I do enjoy having them as a garnish. After the scallions are chopped, there's another optional ingredient, which is red pepper. Just cut a few of the sides off here, and then I'm going to cut them into pieces that approximately match the size of the onions we just chopped. So, cut them into thicker strips like this, and then smaller chunks from there. Here are the original 6 ingredients for my cashew chicken. We've got our chicken pieces, the asparagus, onions, cashews of course, the garlic, and the oyster sauce. Then we have our optional scallions and red peppers. So let's do this. You'll need 2 large pans for this. Put some olive oil in one pan, let it heat up, and add the asparagus. Just stir it around the pan a bit, and we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes on medium heat. In the other pan, some vegetable oil, which will also heat up, and once the pan is nice and hot, we'll add our chicken to the pan. You want to make sure the chicken is spread out in the pan as much as you can, then just let the chicken cook for 4 to 5 minutes without touching it. I'm going to go ahead and add my cashews to my veggie pan. Just give those a stir around so we can get the cashews a little toasty. Then we'll make room in the middle of the pan for a bit more olive oil. Then we're going to add our onions into the mix. Just give them a good toss around the pan to incorporate them. And after that, we're going to go ahead and drop those red peppers in as well, and we'll give that a mix around till everything is well combined with our other ingredients. Now it's time to turn the chicken pieces over. So just give it a toss with your spatula, and then use your kitchen tongs to finish turning the pieces. And don't forget to give your veggies a little stir here too. You don't want to burn those cashews. Then we'll go back to the chicken, make a little space in the middle of that pan for some olive oil and garlic, and I like to let this cook a minute or 2 until it's fragrant. And while that's happening, give the veggies another stir, and now we're ready to incorporate the garlic with the chicken. Just give it a good mix here, and now we're ready to add those veggies. Just transfer them right into the chicken pan, and once again, we're going to stir everything to mix it together well. Then once you've done that, it's time to add that oyster sauce right into the stir fry. You want to mix all of our chicken and veggies together to coat it with the sauce. Add a splash of water here. Keep mixing everything around, and I do usually start with 1/3 cup of oyster sauce, and then you can add more if you like, and I do usually add a bit more. Then one final mixing to make sure everything is coated, and we are done. So here's our delicious cashew chicken for beginners, and it is time to dig in. I hope you enjoy this one as much as I do. This is a fantastic, easy version of cashew chicken. Thank you so much for watching, and I will leave you with my live commentary of tasting this delicious dish.
I've had some rice cooking off to the side, which you'll be able to do yourself because it's so easy. Oh, there's so many cashews. I might as well just not even call this cashew chicken. Might as well just call it cashew. Yeah, that's how many cashews are in here. Okay, I probably will not eat more than that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take a little sampling of this. This is a cashew chicken for beginners. And my other cashew chicken has like 5 or 6 more ingredients in it. But this cashew chicken is the one I used to always make. Mine is the red pepper. I never used red pepper or scallion years ago. So those are totally optional. I really just added the red pepper because you need that when you take pictures for your blog and when you photograph food. Okay. Oh man. I didn't quite get enough cashews. One of the great things about cashew chicken is there's no wrong way to make it. And I stand behind that. Best cashew chicken I've ever had was when I've been traveling in Thailand. I've been to Thailand a bunch of times. I order cashew chicken pretty much every day that I'm there because wherever you go, it is different. It is completely different whichever restaurant you're in, however they do it. It might have more of a red sauce, it might be spicy, it might not be spicy, it might have a brown sauce, it might have a brothy sauce. And I just love it. It might have carrots, it might not have carrots. I love putting asparagus in this beginner version because that's how I always used to make it years ago. I made this a million times and I just loved it with asparagus and the cashews. Okay, another bite. I enjoy making it with dark meat chicken, but you can also make it with chicken breast. I just prefer dark meat. And sometimes I think using chicken tenderloins actually is better for this kind of thing. It's less chopping. It's less labor intensive to cut that chicken. And I'm always trying to think of ways I can save time and effort. But if you're going to make this with white meat chicken, I'd say use chicken tenderloins. And you might be wondering why I cook the vegetables separate from the chicken. It's pretty easy. When you cook onions sweat and they create liquid. And if you cook that in with the chicken, you're going to end up with a pan full of water. And then we're not going to be able to get that nice little sear in the chicken. So a lot of times I do my veggies separately. And then if it's a smaller batch, well, especially if it's a bigger batch, I do the veggies separately. If it's a smaller batch, sometimes I might throw them in with the chicken. But and the other cashew chicken on my website, that's got ginger. It's got like dark soy sauce, Indonesian sweet soy sauce, sambal, give it a little bit of spice. So there's more ingredients in that. But I stand by the simpler version where you're only using oyster sauce. Oyster sauce is very flavorful. And I started with 1/3 cup. I suggest starting with 1/3 cup. Get it coated. Now you might be someone who likes it more saucy. I just like it coated. I don't like it dripping. Like there's a little bit of sauce in the bottom and I'm okay with that. But I don't want it swimming in sauce because then you're going to have it taste, then the oyster sauce is going to take over a little too much. So just watch your amounts. I started with 1/3 cup and as you saw when I was cooking, I added just a little bit more. So but mostly what I would like to do is get this onto a serving plate or bowl. Plates are easier to photograph. The pan's cooled off enough that I'm touching it, so that tells you. Oh, we got a plate full of yummy. I don't like to curate too much, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I don't want to curate too much. Because, but I do need to sort of have a little bit of consideration as to where the peppers have been placed. Because they are a nice little bright spot of color in this, and I don't want to lose that. Here we go. And here's our cashew chicken. A little bit of things spread out here. Then we're going to take some of our fresh chopped scallions. Love that. Okay. Now I am going to need a spoon.